In today's video, we're going to talk all about identity. And today's video marks the first in a new series. So listen up, pay attention, because if you listen and take on board what I'm saying over the next few weeks, I guarantee you, no matter who you are, your life will drastically change. So, let me start off by asking you a rather random question, which will hopefully make sense within the next few minutes. Did you or did you not smoke a cigarette today? If you smoked today, which is a doing behavior, then you are in your self-image and identify as a smoker. If you did not smoke today, however, then quite simply, you are not a smoker. What I want you to understand is that it doesn't matter what you think you want. It doesn't matter what you do. You will only create in life what you are. And a smoker smokes because they are a smoker. A non-smoker does not smoke because they are not a smoker. This is why, no matter what people do, they will stay poor, they will stay overweight, they will stay miserable. Because in their mind and in their self-image, they identify as these things. Now that was probably very confusing, but let me give you an example to try and explain a little bit better just what I mean. So, we see other people being fit and healthy, being wealthy, having a good relationship, being generally happy, and we think, if they can do it, I can do it. What's happening here is your left brain analytical thought is saying, yes, I can have this, but at your unconscious level and in your identity, you are not that. And if you are not that, you cannot do that. And if you cannot do that, you cannot be whatever it is that you want. The relationship, the body, the money. It just can't happen. Your identity you learn at a very young age. And I'll give you a commonly relatable example, since 70% of millennials live paycheck to paycheck. Now, when I was growing up, we didn't have much money. And like most families who have not much money, we get told the same stories. Money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford this. Next week. When you are told all these things as a young child, they help create your identity. So as you get older, if you were told as a child, money's hard to come by, money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford this, you're going to identify money as just that. So as you get older, you are always going to be thinking, money is hard to come by. I have to work really hard to earn my money. Even though we grew up without much money, come Christmas and birthdays, we were always very spoiled, to the point where my parents would lend money at a high interest rate to make sure we had gifts for Christmas. So, before becoming a trainer, my relationship and my identity with money was all based around minimum wage jobs, being unemployed, signing on, and little bits of gambling here and there. Because there's such a big difference with how much money I earn now versus how much money I earned, say, 10, 12 years ago, over this time of being a trainer, subconsciously, my identity with money has changed. So no longer do I think I have to be working 50, 60 hours a week to earn what I consider a decent wage. I can do that in half that time doing something I love. So my identity with money is a lot healthier than it was a long time ago. To go one step further with this whole identity thing, do you remember earlier when I told you that my parents always made sure we never went without, and they spent money they didn't have, and they were always overspending to make sure we had the best of the best? During my annual visit to my accountant a few years ago, after he had finished looking at my accounts, he swiveled around on his chair with a look of concern in his face, and he asked me, "Dan, where is all your money?" To which I replied, "What do you mean?" He then said, "Mate, you've earned almost £45,000 this year, and you have nothing to show for it." And he was right. Because my relationship with money was so bad, I wasn't aware just how much money I had started to make. And because of this, I was spending all the money I had on random things. On things I have nothing to show for. Which, looking back now, was another part of my identity from my childhood. Where, as my parents always made sure we had enough money, and they never had enough money themselves, I in turn had been doing the same thing. Even though I was making more money than I could ever dream of, I was still spending it all because my identity with money was, if we have it, let's spend it. It wasn't until I started investing my money a bit more wisely that I changed my identity at a subconscious level. The things I tried before that did not work. This was proven to me at the start of this year when once again I went to visit my accountant, and during lockdown I was playing this really stupid game on my computer. It's like an idle game where literally you do nothing but click buttons and upgrade stuff every few hours. My accountant asked me what a certain transaction was on my accounts. It was steamgames.com, and he said, "You do realise there's been just over £12,000 spent here in the past 9 months?" To which I responded, "No, I did not realise that." I haven't told many people that because it's quite embarrassing. If I had told my girlfriend at the time about that, I'm sure she would have killed me. So I've only told a few people about that, and obviously now I'm telling everyone because it ties in very well to what I'm saying about the identity of a person and how detrimental it can be to your overall well-being. Because obviously that's £12,000 I'm never going to see again, and I have nothing to show for it. Now that was a good example of my identity relationship with wealth. Understand that you will have an identity with everything in your life. The main ones being your health, your wealth, and your relationships. Now you may be thinking, if my identity is at my subconscious level, how the hell do I figure out what it is? Now this is a really easy one to figure out. All you need to do is look at your external environment. Your identity trickles in to your beliefs and your skills and your environment. Look at your bank account. Look at yourself in the mirror. Look at your relationship. Are you rich? Are you poor? Are you somewhere in between? Are you overweight? Are you underweight? Are you just where you want to be? Are you in a happy relationship? Or are you on your 5th marriage? Or can you never seem to find love? Remember, you can only do what your identity is. If you want to know what it is, just look at your environment and it will 100% tell you. You will most likely understand what I've just been saying. However, the purpose of this video, and for it and the next ones following to have full effect, I need you to know what I've been saying. There is a difference. For example, I've never broken my leg. I understand what a broken leg is. However, I do not know what a broken leg is. So I want you, when you close this video, to try and relate to your own stories and your own identities. Before we go, I have one simple question for you. And that question is, what would the identity of somebody who already has what I want look like? Look around at the people who have what you want and ask yourself, what is their identity compared to mine? Then ask yourself, what identity in my life would I need to create in order to get what I want? When you start working from there, you'll find yourself doing different things because you're working from a different place. Before you go ahead and watch the next video in this series, please take some time to really think about your identity and the things we've just covered in this video. Because next time we're going to be talking about stories, and these go hand in hand with your identity. You need to understand that your identity is key to changing everything. If you cannot change your identity, you cannot change. So I've just started filming a different type of video. It's more of a transformation video log, I guess. From where I am now going into 2022, it's going to be focusing mostly on training, nutrition, and mindset. What you need to remember when it comes to making a big change in your life, it's never going to be easy. And the hard parts along the way are all part of the process. If you got to your goal without going through the process or the hard times, then your goal will mean nothing. What you need to understand is a lot of the times when we go through the process of, say, a weight loss journey or a personal development journey, the things we learn along the way, the hardships we suffer along the way, are what makes us great in the end. So keep that in mind, because it's never easy. It's always going to be a bit difficult. And with this series, hopefully it's going to give you a very good insight into just how somebody goes from where I am now to where you're going to see me next year. I'm confident. Hopefully you're confident in me as well, and confident in yourselves. And I'll see you guys next time. That'll do.